Chris with Chipper LLC Traders Equipment here in front of the Rhino IR1000 loader. Okay, it's a new loader in the 1000 class, and questions are going to come up. Are we the manufacturer? No, we're not the manufacturer. We are a distributor and a dealer. These machines are imported. They're not blindly imported. So they're imported. It's a Chinese branded machine. Not blindly imported without support. We bring them here with USA sales and support. So why would I want to buy a Chinese loader? Well, there's a few reasons for that. So I'll go through those. One, initial cost. More money in your pocket. It's less money you have to outlay that you could spend on attachments, other equipment, or fun, whatever. They're simple to work on. So these things are built simple and strong. Like the one thing that we've kind of seen with Chinese import is, you got your really crappy stuff that you see on Wish, and you got Chinese machinery. Chinese machinery is built simple and tough. Are there some stuff built out there that's not? Yes, but part of an importer's job is to vet that stuff out and find only the best, and that's what we try to do, and that's how we have wound up with this machine. So simple and strong, easy to work on, lower parts cost. We're not making things overcomplicated, so they don't deliberately make things where it's not going to be compatible with standard stuff that you can get off the shelf at a parts store. So, your filters are easy to get. They're not doing things like putting custom filter holders on the engine just so you have to buy their filters. It's all made simple. Part stocking. We first brought these in spring of 2021 to our rental yard. The reason we did is we were having issues with service turnaround times with machines that we bought from others, whether that was Bobcat or Toro. It's just not getting them turned around fast enough, and then also with stuff that's out of warranty, parts cost. So lower parts cost, and we have a faster service time here than others. And how do we do that? We only service what we sell. So we service our rental equipment. Our rental equipment always goes to the back burner to customers that have bought equipment from us. If you buy equipment from us, you go to the front of the line for service. And also, we're not taking in service orders from outside. If it's not something we sold, we won't work on it. So one thing about me is I'm not a salesman. I'm not really a good salesman. I only try to find and locate equipment that sells itself, where I can just explain the equipment and it does the rest. We started on this quest out of not being 100% happy with the products that we had in our rentals. They're good, and I'm not knocking them, but we were looking for something that was better. So we purchased 8 of these units, and we ran them for from April till this video has been made in October of 2021, and we've had pretty good results. Has there been things? Yes, but that actually really points back to us as an importer and having a good relationship with the manufacturer. Plates. Every one of the plates when they came in, junk. Like, it's too thin, and we've seen it on these and we've seen it on other manufacturers. The good thing about the manufacturer we work with is a couple of these failures. What we did for the customers that had failures, we in our shop made the repairs, fixed them right there. No waiting for parts. We cut the plates apart, beefed them up, put them back together, put customers back out there to work within 48 hours of their breakdown. Meanwhile, we went back to the manufacturer, and within 48 hours of us explaining what was going on and giving them a little bit of direction on how to repair, twice as thick with a 3/4 inch bar on the top to add an extra layer of stiffness. No failures since that, but just fantastic turnaround for the manufacturer and being super responsive to, they want to listen and they want to provide a good machine. Other than that, have we had issues? Not very much. The only other issue we've had has been with a seal on a pump, and that's not related to this. That is, the pump manufacturer, not the machine manufacturer. but the machine manufacturer is making it right, going to get us the parts for that. And it's no different than it is on any machine. They all have breakdowns and they all have things. What we love about these is the simplicity. So let's go through the machine. It's 1000. Okay, first off, the MT85 is a great comparison to the Iron Rhino, because the Iron Rhino without these counterweights is essentially a 850 pound weight class machine, the same as the MT85. And the MT85, when they went to the MT100, they didn't really change anything. They just added more weight to the machine to give it more lift capacity so it could get into that 1000 class. And also the arms design and everything is very similar. So if you look, the Toro, you can see it's a shorter machine, and we'll talk about how that is in just a second. But it's a shorter machine. You'll see that the MT85 and the Iron Rhino are about 6 inches longer, but you'll see that 6 inches longer leap is in the engine compartment. So in my mind, as a rental store owner, that pays dividends, because that 6 inches makes it easier to work on. But we'll cover that some more. All right, so let's go to hinge pin height. 83 inches winter, 81 inches, 81 inches. This 81 inches is hanging down. This is the negative to the vertical lift complicated linkage. All that slop is, these machines have one cylinder attached on both ends. It's 2 attachment points. This machine has cylinder, attachment point, going to another linkage and to another linkage down here. So it's got twice the amount of points and twice the amount of play. So as things wear out, it gets sloppier faster. You'll see that's why these plastic slides are here, because literally they're here to help keep the machine arms from like actually dragging on the machine. So it's not all cons though. Vertical lift. This 2,900 pound machine will lift as much as that machine that weighs 3,390 pounds. It does that because it holds it tight and lifts vertically, and that makes it stronger. That machine has got 2 inches more lift height and about 2 inches more reach out. So the longer arms are going to give you reach and height, and what it's doing is it's going out a little bit further, lifting higher and further out. So it's letting you go further out to load a truck, and it's letting you go a couple inches higher to load, and you're getting paid back that by space in the engine compartment. You're paying for it with, it has to be a heavier machine to lift the same amount of weight. Most all the mini loaders are going to steel impregnated tracks. The Toro Kevlar tracks were fantastic on the 427s and the 525, and they're great on these, except it's just not a strong enough track system for the strength of the machine. When you start getting into bigger machines, the steel impregnated tracks are so much better. And you can see that here is, as these machines slip, the rubber drive tracks or on the Kevlar track will actually jump the teeth, and as it does that, it'll start eating the teeth up. And so what ends up happening on these tracks is, far before this is ever worn out, the drive on it is worn out, and you have to be very careful to keep it adjusted. If you don't, an operator, like if it's popping, and we try to tell our guys to do it, but I mean, people don't always listen. You wind up having that. Compare that against the steel impregnated. This one has 336 hours and still has the original tracks. Tracks are pretty much gone from a standpoint of tread, but they're still 100% intact. So you would literally be able to run these tracks until they're bald and completely gone, and that's what you get with steel impregnated tracks. So going through the pros, would say that, you know, the open cockpit, the ease of maintenance, we love some of the features about it. Love that the muffler's mounted to the machine here with a flex pipe to the manifold. That helps two things. It protects the muffler from cracking. It protects the manifold from cracking, because if you hang the muffler off of the manifold, that vibration, even with dampeners, you wind up with cracks forming either here or here. And then you're replacing either a manifold or a muffler. With a flex pipe system, this takes the abuse, and if it fails, you can replace it for $20 at AutoZone. And one of the things I like about these is they bring the hydraulic tank out from underneath. It's on the back of the machine. So taking that hydraulic tank out, putting it back there, gives you more space. And while we're here talking about part stocking, in stock. I mean, pretty much all the guts of this machine, except the motor. If you have a motor warranty, that's Kubota. It'll be done at any Kubota dealer. So that's the only thing that we would not do, is if it's Kubota, that would be your local Kubota dealer that would handle it. We would actually just we'd actually work with them. But everything else we try to keep here in stock where we can change it. Good point, talking point, that muffler is the Toro. Their factory muffler is direct mounted. So this one is been replaced because the factory muffler cracked and Toro gave us a new one under warranty, and the replacement cracked and they gave us a new one. And when that one cracked, we threw it away and we just welded this up. So their muffler is bigger and heavier, and the vibration of it, even with dampeners, it will basically crack back here coming out of the manifold. That's one of the things that we like about that, how the exhaust is done on that. One less thing to fail. And this is done the same way, but we haven't had any failures out of the Bobcat exhaust. But still, even though the Bobcat's even got more room in the compartment than the Toro, it's still very tight compared to the engine compartment on that IR1000. So the other thing to talk about is drive speed. These guys are going to be about a ½ mile an hour faster in forward than the Iron Rhino. And then this one is actually slower. Bobcat's got a different reverse speed than the forward speed. So ½ mile an hour difference in speed, drive speed. But if you're actually operating the arms, the arms operate twice as fast on this, and everything is just related to where they're putting the power to. They're putting a lot of power in their lift arms, so their lift arms are going to have a high rate of up and down. So if you're loading, they're going to do that like much faster. And then the selling point I would say on the TX1000 is auxiliary hydraulics. So 10.5 GPMs, 12 GPMs, 15.2 GPMs. So if you're running a rotary mower or something where you need the maximum flow, the TX1000 is a great choice. If you're running an auger or something, or landscape rake, power rake, something that doesn't require extreme flow, then the IR1000 is a good choice. Then the Bobcat comes there in the middle. But if I was running, that's one thing if you're looking for. If you're gonna run a rotary mower, you want to look at something putting out max hydraulic flow. These all kind of have the same pumps. This is just putting more power to the arms than it's putting to its auxiliary hydraulics. So that's a pretty good rundown of pros and cons. The one thing I didn't cover is controls. Electric over hydraulic joystick, mechanical joystick. So the ones we tested, we haven't had any issues out of the joysticks. The Toros that we've had to replace parts on this joystick. It's great when it's new. It gets a little sloppy with time and age. This is a simple, there's no electronics to it, but it suffers from, you can see there's a fair amount of slop in that. And this is a 330-hour machine. So over time, this straight mechanical joystick does start to get some stiction and wear in it.
Here we have a 2020 Bobcat MT85. Note the newer MT100 has the same specs as the MT85, but higher lift capacity. We also have a 2019 Toro TX1000 and a 2021 Rhino IR1000 side by side. First, we are testing lift cycle speed. The MT85 and Iron Rhino are very similar with radial lift arms for a rapid lift speed. The Iron Rhino wins this with the fastest cycle times and highest lift height of the three at 83 inches. The Toro TX1000 lift is much slower due to two reasons. The vertical lift arm's more complicated linkage design requires longer cylinders, and the TX1000 also directs more hydraulic flow to drive motors and to auxiliary flow than to the lift arms. By doing this, the TX1000 has the fastest ground speed and the highest auxiliary flow rate of the three machines at 15.2 gallons per minute. The MT85 has 12 gallons per minute, and the IR1000 has 10.5 gallons per minute. The TX1000 would be your best choice for high-demand auxiliary flow rates like mowers or stump grinder attachments. The other machines are sufficient for grapples, augers, and Harley rakes and will also power mowers and grinders, but just not at the same level as the TX1000. The MT85 and IR1000's faster lift times will excel at loading and dumping. For speed, the TX1000 comes out on top, followed closely by the Iron Rhino. The MT85 is the only one with a significantly slower reverse speed than forward speed. While its forward speed is on par with the TX1000, its reverse speed is much lower, and thus it ends in last place on this out and back test. For more information, check us out at chipperllcsales.com or check out our YouTube channel.